Hello everybody, welcome back. We got ourselves another game of the Herald playing in the Immortal bracket after buying an account. This is actually his second purchased account. It is GPK Smurf at rank 2 when he bought it. It was about 15,000 euro that he paid for this account. This is after the previous one got banned after losing over 20 games in a row. So the real question is, he's lost over 20 games in a row in the Immortal bracket. What has he learned since our first review playing Undying? And let's go ahead and find out.
Banana slam jam.
You know, we critiqued his starting items a little bit last time around. Weren't the biggest fan of the no regen build, but as we see here, he has chosen to do the exact same thing on the 4 position Undying. So let's go ahead and see if he plays it any differently with the Pango 3 position. A little bit weaker laner. Let's see what he chooses to do this time, make it happen. We can definitely confirm purely from starting items that this is the same player. So he's going to start off the lane harassing again. Very good with the decay. The only issue with decay is if you steal their max HP, but then don't actually hit them, they're not taking any damage. So we're seeing a very consistent, very strict consistency between the first game and this one, is that he does little bits of aggression. We see him now playing a bit further forward, less walking randomly. He is going to get tossed into tower, and these are generally the moments where you need regen. But I respect this, you know? Salves, 110 gold. TPs, 100 gold. One option's 100 gold, other option, 110 gold. We weigh, you know, the pros and cons. But then we have to also ask ourselves, is our offlaner okay without our help? Okay, so as a support, it's crucial to think, if I leave, what's the lane gonna do? What's the dynamic gonna be like? And if you look at the lane, they're gonna be able to deny their range creep. They're gonna be able to deny these creeps before the next creep waves get here. So that means that if he leaves, the opponent will be 2v1 and likely keep the lane near their tower. So let's go ahead and check that out, right? Let's see what happens to his offlaner in the near future. So since it's 1v2, for the foreseeable future, the offlaner is getting completely bodied outside of creep XP, losing all of his HP, no salve or anything. And Marcy's likely going to try to pull the hard camp here to try to fix the lane a little bit. It's not going to work out. Instead, he's just getting completely bullied. But the lane's actually not going that poorly. But he did feed first blood. So the biggest part about this, when I say the lane's not going that poorly, is the lane got pushed into Pangolier and he didn't die. But, like, let's just look at the before Undying TPs and after Undying TPs. When Undying TPs, out right here, Pango sitting at 370 HP. Bloodseeker at 390, Marcy at full HP. Let's look at the HP of the 2 safe laners after the TP out, 1v2. Let's also look at the CS between the Bloodseeker and Pango when Undying TPs out. Bloodseeker was at 2 CS when Undying TP's out, and Pangolier was at 4 CS. So, we're going to monitor the crucial things that matter in the laning phase. So, Undying TP's out. Pangolier takes 300 damage. Bloodseeker is at about the same HP since he got some decay stacks back, and Marcy's still at full HP. So, in terms of HP trades, 300 to 0 in favor of the Radiant. In terms of CS, Pangolier has gotten 2 CS. Bloodseeker has gotten 3, 4 CS, a deny, and Pangolier, after tangoing up and using a branch, an extra 50 gold there, has gotten a grand total of 2 CS since his fellow lane partner departed. Bloodseeker has 4 CS and 1 deny, and they did about 500 damage and killed the Pango, while Marcy took about 370 damage herself. If you leave the lane, you can just use metrics as a support. What's it going to look like while I'm gone? And so the problem with this play is he's being efficient gold-wise, right? He's using 100 gold to get full health, full mana, as opposed to 110 gold just to get his health back. But it's the fact that the gold means you have to go back to base. The fact that you TP out, you are leaving your offlaner by themselves. So this is actually a reasonable play if, for instance, the opponent had 4 creeps here and his teammate had 0 creeps here, and the lane's going to, like, shove into his tower. Pangolier's got full HP and a salve, And that means that by the time the Undying gets back, his Pangolier will have the lane right here. He's going to be farming it. Everything's going to be good in the world. But instead, he completely abandons his lane partner 1.5 minutes into the game when Pangolier absolutely could not afford to be abandoned. So pretty big deal as a support to really understand when your cores need you or not. Really good courier snipe. Was definitely not able to save the Pango since he doesn't have a point in Soul Rip just yet. This is definitely a sustain heavy lane, which means that his Pangolier is going to be taking a lot of damage. So they have two options. One is for him to take Soul Rip and look to keep the Pango at full HP, or to take Tombstone and go all in. And that's actually what he's going to do here. We're going to see a much better result compared to last time. And then he actually pops Tombstone in a place that's not anywhere near the lane. So that is going to push the lane in. So this is a fantastic spot here where you just did the same thing that the opponent just did to you. Now you've got a 2v1. Got to look at the lane here. It's the same idea. The opponent had a 2v1. You saw what they did with it. They punished the fuck out of that Pango, right? They had like 20, 30 seconds where there was no Undying, and you saw exactly what happened. And it is crucial in Dota when you have the advantage, guys, that you punish. So we have options. We can deny our own creeps together, making sure Bloodseeker doesn't get any CS. We can shove the lane in and pull. And that's pretty much it. Those two options mean that if you deny, he's not getting CS and you're keeping the lane here. If you push it in and pull, that means he's getting denied the next creep wave. Both of those things will lead to a denial of CS to Bloodseeker. So those are our two options. I guarantee you any player in the Immortal bracket would choose one of those two options, guys. So let's see here. Because of the Tombstone, the lane's actually going to push. And there's absolutely nothing they can do about that, right? The lane's going to push because these zombies are spawning and killing the creeps. So what he should do here is he should walk over to the big camp and pull it into the wave. And that's so important because 4 seconds from now, 7 seconds from now, when Marcy gets back to lane, she's going to be able to stop any pulls. She's going to be able to help the Bloodseeker again. But instead, right now is the time to punish. And instead, we're just going to do literally nothing. We hit the Bloodseeker once. So our choice was to get a better lane equilibrium and pull, or to hit the Bloodseeker once. He chose the Bloodseeker once. Something tells me that wasn't correct. And because the lane's still in a bad spot after getting the kill didn't actually lead to anything beneficial. They're actually being forced to run away rather than like using this advantage of the kill that they just got, right? So they feed the Undying. Pangolier's forced to run away. He missed like 3 or 4 CS under tower. He's coming back though. He's ready to go. 2 points in decay. Didn't even consider going for the Soul Rip to save his Pango there. Make sure he feeds the Tombstone very quickly. I would really like to see him go base here. That seems really efficient by this guy's standards. That's what I would really like to see here. I think this is about time for him to go to base right now. This seems like a really good time. Nope, he's going to stick around. He's morally supporting here. Okay. The camera movement's a little bit tough to stomach, but he's actually being aggressive. This is good. Now is it time to... Oh, nope. We got to make sure we drag the creeps away here as Pango is dying. And what your job as a support is when your core dies, to set your core up for success. So the best option that he could do here would be to drag these 4 creeps like over here somewhere and then drag them into this creep wave. Because what that's going to do is if he pulls the lane to about right here, his Pangolier who died is going to respawn about 15-20 seconds from now into a creep wave that's right in front of his tower. And as a support, that is our job, to make sure our core has a nice lane to return to when he dies, or that he has an okay lane to operate in when we leave. So as we see here, if I was the opponent and I killed the Pangolier, what I would want to do is actually pull the lane back. I would want the lane to be the same thing that I said the Undying and Pango could do over here. And Undying is actually going to effectively do that for them here by pulling it into the small camp and then not even farming the small camp. He literally just pulled the small camp and left. He legitimately did the Marcy's job for her. So, see what's happening here is not only does he die, but when Pango respawns, the lane's right here. The Pangolier can't even enter the lane. But the lane's going to stay back here. So now we have a level 5 Bloodseeker to a level 4 Pango, and the lane's right outside the tower. So Pangolier is going to try to farm a little bit of a hard camp. Let's go back to the Undying. He's the point of critique here. Pango actually doing a pretty good job here of literally doing Undying's job for him, pulling the big camp there. That's very good. Pops the Tombstone, ready to counterplay. The zombie's actually racking up here. I actually have to use my own camera because I feel like his is not going to cut it. And actually going to result in a 2 for 0. Nothing he can really do about this here. The lane's pushing in. His Pangalier's not going to be here. Nobody on his team is going to get this gold and XP. And he's going to be 1v1 because the enemy carry and support were both dead. Both having to TP back in. He's actually 100 gold off of a pretty big item since he literally never buys any regen. This is his CS. It's his to have. He's going to walk away and ward. And during this time, 2 creeps, 3 creeps, 4 creeps have now died. And the lane is underneath the Bloodseeker's tower. He didn't even get XP for those creeps. Looks like they're going to dive the level 6 Bloodseeker with level 4 Pango. Kind of telegraphing the fact that his Wind Ranger is here. We see a very similar story. He's lost his lane. The opponent is significantly out-leveling him, which usually in that case means you want to play away from these strong heroes, play towards the lanes that are maybe a bit more even, because no matter what MMR you are playing in the right bracket or not, you're going to lose your lane sometimes. So the proper response is to go to other lanes, which he is. Oh my god, he's learning. He's learning. We did not TP bottom 7 times in a row. Helping his Wind Ranger relieve some pressure on the mid tower. Kudos, man. That's big. That's actually big. That's a big recognition of TP mid right there. As he will walk back to bottom. Maybe the old habits die hard here. Then he's going to walk back to mid. Do want to highlight the 7 CS he has. I think it's mostly Tombstone zombies killing creeps, not his actual hero. But still props to him. Didn't even go for the deny. Did attempt to defend the tower with Tombstone, so he clearly has objective Dota in mind here. A lot of wandering. I think you could just go base, buddy. I think that's efficient. There's nothing else to do here. Okay, he's going to TP bottom. Once again, in reaction to the opponent in a lane that's clearly in their advantage already. Pangolier still level 5. Just in case we wanted our Pangolier to hit his power spike, let's make sure we TP into the lane and soak some of that XP so that he literally doesn't get level 6 from that creep. That's really important. I see a whole lot of nothing again, guys. Does get the D ward. Gets the D ward. He's going to walk in, body for the team, and then bait the TP out as they have no TP cancels. He's dropped down his Tombstone. This guy has set this up. Wow. That's actually the play of all these games so far. Let's see this from the opponent's perspective. I would have never seen this coming. I would have legit never seen this coming. You've seen this Undying this whole time. You don't know what he's doing. And he's going to walk up in Tombstone. He looks like he's just feeding. And then you're going to come. Then you just TPs. And now you're fucked. Oh my god. Look at this. Killing the enemy support and mid at the same time. Only trading an offlaner who lost his lane. Bloodseeker zoned away. If you don't think he set that up with the dangle play, then you just don't understand. Look at the map right now, guys. Look at the map. His crucial abilities on cooldown. There's a lane to farm that nobody else on his team's going to go farm. There's even this lane if he wants it. And he walks back to the fight, man. As a support, it's so crucial to ask, are you impactful? You have to feel the impact. He was so impactful in that last fight. Why? It was the Tombstone, guys. The Tombstone. It's on cooldown for 62 seconds. That means if your impact is negligible because you're on cooldown, because you haven't hit a certain level yet, whatever it may be, that's when you walk to other lanes and then save that TP that you should rebuy because you TP'd home. Gork viewer here, I guess. And that's probably what he was thinking, man. He was probably thinking that. He's like, 80-second cooldown on the TP. If I plop down this Tombstone, and then 2 seconds later I TP, and then I land in base, I will buy a new TP, and my TP will be available at the exact same time as my Tombstone cooldown. But then not making use of his own efficiency. not making use of it, people. That's the whole idea here, is to be able to join fights with impact and then go farm. This applies for every position in the game. It doesn't matter which. It doesn't matter. But he's going to walk back bottom here. And usually when you're not impactful and you walk to a place that you're supposed to have impact because it's like a team fight and shit, you usually end up just standing there. And we are going to see a lot of standing there. He is morally supporting his team. He did push R. That's intimidating at the very least. He is pushing Decay a few times. He actually slowed that Marcy, made him take ant damage. Maybe I'm underestimating. Tombstone's available just in time for the fight to end.
Thanks for playing Dota 2.
Did give them a 3-for-1. Meanwhile, top lane is just not being farmed by anybody. Just in case we weren't sure about the principle applying once again here, is he's going to be respawning with 5 seconds on the timer. Tombstone's on cooldown. Flesh Golem's on cooldown. There's a lane to farm here. And he's going to TP back bottom here, man. I feel like if you're a Herald, honestly, anyone in the support bracket, if you just learned this one lesson from the game, is that what is my impact in team fights? If it's cooldown or like level based and it's coming up soon, walk somewhere to do something that can be farming a lane. That's usually the first priority. The second priority would be like warding, dewarding, general things in the game. You know, just not like specific engagements. When I say general things, I'm saying lane pushing is going to be there every single game. Warding is going to be there every single game. Dewarding, stacking, these type of macro plays. That's when you make them, guys. That's when you make them. Don't just walk back to fights. It's actually a serious problem in coaching sessions that I have too. This guy is highlighting what happens in the highest bracket when you do this. You can't do it and make it to the highest bracket, people. Oh my gosh. But he's going to go ahead and... I thought he might have soaked up some spells by getting Hex there, but that actually was his own pig pole. And instead of being maybe potentially efficient farming top lane, maybe his team can play defensively in the triangle, they are going to 4-man the bottom tower and feed 4 heroes once again. Now, all of his abilities are off cooldown. I'm actually ready for him to fight. Let's go, baby. Run it down. Get him. What's he going to do? Maybe buy a smoke here? Pangolier ultis? Oh, he's going to TP literally 2 feet. 1 meter. Not the proper conversion rate, but it's fine. As I'm trying to appeal to my European viewership as much as an A. But this is the time to fight, people. He's got ult. He's got Tombstone. That was pretty good. I like it. I respect the fact that he knows it's time to brawl. I actually don't think he knows it's time to brawl. I think he just wants to brawl at all times. I think that's actually the more accurate. So now we're on cooldown now. The opponent's all alive again. It's time to retreat and potentially TP top to the lane that nobody is farming, people. I know you support players are terrified of farming creeps because your cores will ping you. But we talked about this in the Ares series, guys. Don't be a useless piece of shit. If you are a useless piece of shit, then it's worse than whatever your cores could say to you. And right now, cooldowns, something to do. Something to do, cooldowns. It's rinse and repeat, people. Oh, he's actually got a TP base!
They're unstoppable. Kill.
Radiant should look to their bottom tower.
And I would say that TP base is a great way to end this video as we are at a 9k advantage for the opponent. I don't think there's too much more to learn here, as I think the game is relatively out of reach. I hope you guys could take this tangible difference and apply it in your own games, or at least you got a good giggle, because this shit's honestly fucking hilarious. So, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you. Okay, that's it.